To install or update a tool, software developers type a simple, everyday command into their terminals. But for a brief, terrifying window, hitting Enter on one specific software tool instantly infected their entire machine. The target was a popular development package called jscrambler. If a developer or automated system pulled a compromised version, a hidden native binary dropped onto their system and launched the exact second the installation started. It required no extra clicks and no typos to run. The very infrastructure engineers rely on to build safe applications was weaponized to silently hunt the developers themselves. On July 8th, NPM established a new security baseline by disabling automatic hidden scripts. 3 days later, an attacker used compromised credentials to push a toxic update, version 8.14.0, directly to the registry. Security monitors flagged this malicious release exactly 6 minutes later. That is an incredibly fast security response. Yet, any continuous integration runner or developer environment that automatically updated jscrambler during those 360 seconds pulled down the payload and executed it. A severe software supply chain compromise does not require a vulnerability to sit unnoticed for months. A 6-minute window is entirely sufficient to cause irreversible damage across thousands of automated systems. The attackers achieved this speed by exploiting a pre-install hook. This is an older feature that lets developers bundle setup instructions that run quietly in the background before the actual software finishes installing. This diagram shows the execution path. The process starts with a small loader script that checks the host operating system to determine if the target is running Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. Once it knows the environment, it unpacks the correct native binary from a nearly 8-megabyte compressed archive, drops it as a randomly named file into a system temporary directory, and marks it as executable. The executable file then detaches from the main installation process, hiding its terminal output entirely. From there, it reaches out to 2 hard-coded IP addresses and the Tor anonymity network to begin transmitting data. Because NPM version 12 blocks these pre-install scripts on newer machines, the attackers monitored the drop in their success rate. Within hours, they published newer versions up to 8.20.0, moving the malicious payload directly into the tool's main code, so it would execute whenever the package was simply imported. They deployed cross-platform binaries, built mechanisms to survive reboots, and pivoted in real time. This operation guaranteed execution against specific developer environments. Once the malware established its foothold, it began sweeping the developer's local storage for a highly specific list of assets. Built in Rust, the Infostealer goes after the standard payload: cloud credentials from AWS and Azure, Big Warden password vaults, browser cookies, and cryptocurrency seed phrases. But it also hunts for something much newer. It explicitly targets the configuration files for AI coding tools like Claude Desktop, Cursor, and Windsurf. These local configuration files are where developers store their raw API keys for large language models, as well as credentials for Model Context Protocol servers, local bridges that let AI assistants directly read internal company databases and code repositories. Stealing these specific files gives an attacker the ability to bypass perimeter defenses and query internal company data using the organization's own AI tools. Threat actors are prioritizing the exact infrastructure that engineering teams are actively adopting. This graph compares the target's footprint. The compromised package, jscrambler, sees around 15,000 downloads a week, a tiny fraction compared to a library like Axios, which pulls in over 83 million. The attackers deliberately chose a specialized build time tool. It is run exclusively by developers and continuous integration servers, the exact machines that hold high-level deployment tokens, unencrypted source code, and master cloud keys. Infecting millions of end-user laptops is noisy and inefficient. By aiming directly at the build pipeline, attackers secure high-level access to the core nervous system of an organization. If your automated pipelines use this package, you need to execute a methodical cleanup immediately. First, review your log files. You must upgrade to version 8.22.0, which the maintainers have confirmed is clean, or explicitly pin your dependency to an older, unaffected release like 8.13.0. Second, audit your package manager logs and CI execution records starting from July 11th. Look for any execution of a file named setup.js under the distribution folder, or hidden, randomly named files appearing in your system temp directory. Third, if you find evidence that a compromised version ran on any machine, treat every secret that machine could reach as stolen. You must immediately rotate all cloud keys, GitHub tokens, crypto wallets, and AI API keys. Supply chain infections operate in seconds. True resilience means structuring your permissions and secrets so that when a trusted tool inevitably turns malicious, you can isolate the damage and rotate your credentials before 2 years. A quiet digital conflict has been playing out across South Asia. Deep inside the internal networks of Pakistan's law enforcement agencies, state-aligned hackers from both India and China were digging through the exact same system at the exact same time. This overlap is a rare occurrence in cyber espionage. You have two rival global powers with competing geopolitical goals operating inside a single police network without interfering with each other's access. When two competing nation-states converge on an identical target, it signals a localized intelligence value that overrides their usual caution. That target was the Balochistan Police Force. This is a regional law enforcement agency responsible for managing biometric records, criminal files, and provincial personnel data. The complaint management system is a trusted public portal for citizens and police to track local issues. Attackers inverted this trust, uploading custom malware mimicking a routine update. When executed, it infected everyone connected, pulling both police and civilians into the attacker's orbit. By corrupting a trusted public utility, the attackers created a vulnerability that reaches far beyond the police station. They silently exposed the personal data of thousands of citizens the platform was built to protect. This timeline shows the true scale of the intrusion. From February 2024 to April 2026, state-aligned actors maintained an unbroken siege. Once inside, the compromise cascaded, breaking into servers hosting biometric records, tenant registrations, criminal case files, and the primary email gateway. To get that initial foothold, the hackers exploited real-world geopolitical tensions. They sent targeted spear phishing emails containing decoy operational plans regarding the repatriation of foreign nationals, specifically targeting Afghan citizen cardholders, to trick personnel into clicking malicious links. With this level of access, the hackers moved past simple data theft, gaining total, unchecked visibility into the region's operational security. Cybersecurity researchers at SentinelOne analyzed the breach and discovered that the network was infected by 4 distinct clusters of malware working in parallel. First, PlugX and ShadowPad, legacy Trojans for large-scale data collection. Third was Cobalt Strike, a silent observer maintaining persistent access. Finally, the Remcos rat, introducing a distinct operational footprint. Finding 4 sophisticated malware families operating in a single provincial police network points to a highly coordinated, multi-front intelligence gathering effort. To understand who deployed these tools, researchers looked past the local servers, tracing their telemetry outward across the globe. The data trails for PlugX, ShadowPad, and Cobalt Strike revealed a victimology profile spanning government and defense entities from the Arabian Peninsula to Southeast Europe. This wide-ranging footprint aligns with the established collection patterns of China Nexus actors. Analysis of those same Cobalt Strike command servers revealed espionage campaigns against Tibetan Buddhist organizations in Taiwan, a group frequently targeted by Chinese state actors. But the Remcos rat traffic went somewhere else. That infrastructure connects directly to a hacking group known as Mysterious Elephant, an adversary with deep tactical ties to Indian-aligned cyber espionage units. The telemetry shows that local law enforcement data is no longer a domestic concern, but a critical piece on the international cyber warfare chessboard. Which brings us back to the central anomaly. Why would a close geopolitical partner like China and a fierce rival like India both risk exposure by hacking into the exact same provincial police force? The answer lies in the data itself. Local police departments hold a government's internal security picture. They know exactly who the citizens are, who the suspects are, and what domestic threats are simmering below the surface. By accessing biometric databases, hotel logs, and criminal complaints, foreign powers gain intelligence on exactly how a state plans to act against its own internal threats. The hackers weaponized a system perfectly designed for citizen safety, turning it into a tool for state-level surveillance. Today, the front line of national security is no longer confined to the physical border. It exists inside the mundane.
What you're seeing is a visualization of a zero-day payload quietly bypassing a digital server core. It represents a silent, active threat, targeting administrator sessions through specially crafted emails and vulnerable plugins. In this session, we are going to secure your infrastructure. We will patch the Zimbra collaboration suite, lock down vulnerable CMS plugins, and permanently scrub any existing backdoors from your server. Look at the 3 requirements on screen. Before executing commands, you need root access, a complete server snapshot, and exactly 5 minutes of uninterrupted time. Do not skip the server snapshot. Failing to prepare that specific backup could turn a routine security patch into a catastrophic, unrecoverable server outage. Step 1 addresses the primary vulnerability, a critical stored cross-site scripting or XSS flaw actively sitting inside the Zimbra Classic web client. This flowchart tracks the attack. A crafted email bypasses standard firewalls, depositing a malicious script directly into your database server. Stored permanently, it executes invisibly when users load the page, silently detaching their session token to hijack the administrator's account. To close this flaw, execute this exact command line syntax as root to update your Zimbra collaboration suite to version 10.1.19. Once the terminal process finishes, log into your Zimbra admin console and check the internal version number to verify the patch applied correctly. These XSS flaws have been heavy targets since 2021. Threat actors routinely exploit unpatched zero-days, like CVE 2025-27915, to compromise legacy email environments. Updating to version 10.1.19 instantly destroys that primary execution path, stopping email-borne session hijackers from reaching your network. Step 2 shifts our focus from internal email servers to public web assets, where a secondary threat vector is being exploited in a massive global CMS campaign. This map illustrates the immense scale of the campaign identified by the ATT&CK. Red indicators represent simultaneous attacks across international regions. The target list shows the content management systems under fire, actively scanning for vulnerabilities in WordPress, Craft CMS, and Mac Site. Securing your internal email server accomplishes nothing if your public-facing CMS remains an open backdoor for the exact same threat actors. Here is the 4-step action plan required to lock down your web-facing CMS infrastructure. First, go to your CMS dashboard and locate the iCalAgenda plugin. Update it immediately to either version 4.0.8 or 3.9.15. Next, you must secure the Balboa Forms plugin by updating it to version 2.4.1. This closes the secondary web vulnerability. Third, we move to post-patching remediation. We have to scan your upload directories for any hidden rogue PHP files left behind from previous unnoticed breaches. Look at this terminal mockup. Run this precise command: find/uploads/name *.php to search the directory for hidden executable files. Read the resulting terminal output carefully. You must delete every identified PHP file until the search returns 0 malicious files. Software updates prevent new breaches, but only manual directory audits can neutralize persistent malware that is already inside. Step 4. Open both your Zimbra admin panel and your CMS admin panel simultaneously to conduct a full user privilege audit. Sort all existing administrator accounts by date created and then by last login to isolate anomalies. You are looking for specific warning signs: any admin account created recently by an external IP address or an account that has logged in during unusual hours. You must select any unverified or highly suspicious admin accounts from that list and permanently delete them from the system. Stripping these rogue accounts completely breaks the attacker's persistence on the network. This model represents your secured state. Your server is now fully protected from both email and web-based external threat vectors. By running Zimbra version 10.1.19 alongside fully patched CMS plugins, those specific zero-day execution paths are permanently closed. Keep this aggressive security posture going forward. Regular patching and directory auditing must be continuous habits. As the screen reminds us, patch now, secure your systems today, and ensure your organization avoids becoming the next zero-day headline.